Artemus Toast here, and today I'm in the studio of Kaliem, who was formerly of Needlescrape and currently working on his project, BrØke DØwn Satellite. Kaliem, how you doing?
Not too bad, sir. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you again.
Yeah.
We actually used to work together like 15 years ago. Haven't seen him since then, but
right.
You know, I always known he had a love of music and love of playing guitar, and you know, that's something that kind of through twist of fate brought us together again. You know, through Marlon Xerxes Sprouts that you could watch on a previous interview I did. So, Kaliem, how you been doing, man?
Oh, not too bad. Hanging in there.
No.
Yeah.
Understandable. That's all any of us could do. You know, I'm gonna start it with this. You know, this is a question I like to ask everybody. What got you started playing guitar?
I would say, as a young child, I caught Led Zeppelin on VH1, and it was "Song Remains the Same," and pretty much what it was the opening track of them live.
Okay.
Came out with the song "Rock and Roll,"
Yes.
and you know, it was bombastic, it was bizarre, and you know, I wanted to be Jimmy Page. So there it was.
I think anybody who's ever held a six-string instrument has wanted to be Jimmy Page.
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
You know, speaking of you know, Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin, I'm excited to hear that's how you got your, you know, what you know, got you started in music. You know, is there a particular, you know, Led Zeppelin song that you would consider your favorite Led Zeppelin song?
You know what? It would have to still be Rock and Roll.
Okay.
You know, I mean, even though it's simple, it's it's kind of a Chuck Berry type boogie riff, and you know, it just rocks. And the live version of it rocks even more. You know, the drums are banging. You got a whole bunch of grittiness in the guitars, and everything just rips. And that to me is it's just an ultimate track. You know, it has everything you need.
That's actually, and forgive me, you know, I collect vinyl records. I think that's the opening track of Led Zeppelin 2 or 4.
It's 4, but I think maybe Black Dog might have been.
You know, you're right.
That.
Black Dog is the first track of
the Zozo
4.
album, yeah, 4. And then it's Rock and Roll, and then it goes into whatever.
Yeah.
That big song they have that everybody listens to.
Oh, Stairway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that they won their lawsuit with.
Yeah, and well, you know, I'm glad you mentioned that lawsuit because, you know, music is obviously an infinite thing. You know, there's only a set number of chords that can be played.
Right.
You know, that kind of bothered me about that whole lawsuit is, you know, I've never looked at the sheet music, but, you know, just audibly, there are chord progressions that are similar, but the track as a whole, the song as a whole, you know, you're talking about a short instrumental and then a 9-minute long, multi-tracked, you know, song, you know, with John Paul Jones and Bonham, and I mean, they're completely different. So I'm sure you're glad that lawsuit, you know, wasn't won by the Spirit party.
Yeah, that was very bizarre.
Bizarre. I agree. You know, well, speaking of Jimmy Page, you know, he's one of my favorite guitarists. You know, I know it's looking around, you know, and you can't see it on camera, but, you know, I noticed a couple Les Paul body guitars, you know, and anybody who's played rock, that's their grail.
Yeah. Yeah, Les Pauls, they have, you know, a lot of body to them sound-wise. Thick, voluptuous.
I like that.
Yeah.
Voluptuous.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're heavy guitars, weight-wise, you know. You hang them on you, and it's practically the weight of another person.
No, I agree.
You know, I love that. So.
You're speaking of weight guitars, and you know, as a fellow guitarist, you know, weight is very important to me. You know,
absolutely.
I know. I mean, they're very well balanced guitars, and the last time I spoke to you, once again, it was like 15 years ago.
Right.
BC Rich Warlocks.
Yeah.
In my opinion, very neck heavy guitars.
It could be. Yeah.
Well, the cheaper ones
right,
are.
Right.
You know. You know. what kind of I'm looking at your axe collection here, and I'm not seeing a Warlock. What changed?
Yeah. Well, I was playing black metal.
Okay.
You know that. I was doing death metal, technical metal. Needlescrape was progressive death tech.
Mm-hmm.
What have you. And as I was doing black metal after that, I recorded an album or two as well. And I had a period where I wasn't playing music at all, which is, most people probably don't even know. So I wasn't doing anything with guitars. I had no guitars. And when I wanted to, I did have the one, I had a BC Rich BrØke, which is a V, looks like Black Dragon's Fire. And fantastic guitar, ebony fretboard, no inlays. I mean, it was the darkest guitar I've ever seen and played, for that matter. And when I came out of my funk and started this whole rock idea with the BrØke DØwn Satellite project, the guitar just didn't do it for me. It didn't work in that context. I looked at it, I saw a black metal guitar or a tech death guitar, and it just didn't have the same vibe as what I had anymore. So I didn't really relate to it as the instrument for me anymore. And when I got a hold of a Les Paul, that was it.
Understandable. I mean, there's probably countless people who have said those exact words. Like,
right.
I got my hands on a Les Paul, that was it.
I wish I would have played a Les Paul even for metal.
Yeah.
There's a thicker tone that you get from it that you don't need to pump up with pedals. BC Rich guitars are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
You put active pickups in there, Seymour Duncan Blackouts, and you do that, and you still need to pump them up with stacking the pedals together for overdrive or distortion, cranking up the gain on the amp. You're still doing that even more. Whereas with a Les Paul, even with passive pickups, like a JB, which Dave Mustaine used through the 80s, to get that metal tone, it is a more pronounced, clear, more defined tone with better harmonics. And in a Les Paul has tons of body to it. Look at Lamb of God.
Yeah.
Those guys were using passive pickups.
Yeah, that's true.
They were using Les Pauls without tremolo systems. The strings were coming out of the body or right through the bridge. And they were getting, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best tones I've ever heard in metal. And, they're not pumping up a Warlock or another BC Rich guitar. Nothing bad about a BC Rich guitars. They're fantastic.
No.
It's just, there is something about the guitar itself that isn't, it's nice to...
It doesn't require as much assistance,
right,
I guess is the best way to put it. And I hear
Absolutely.
that, talking to other guitarists, you hit the nail on the head. I often hear that term used with the Gibson or the Les Paul guitar in general is the tone, the body of the tone.
Absolutely.
That's something that I don't know if it's due to the shape or the tone woods or there's something that you can't capture on any guitar. There's that tone that a Les Paul creates that you can't capture on any guitar other than a Les Paul.
Right.